Hey guys, it's Adam with Outdoor Pet Solutions, and today I wanted to share with you some of the most popular layouts that you can do when installing your underground dog fence. Hi, I'm Adam with Outdoor Pet Solutions, and on this channel, I try to empower DIYers to install underground dog fencing all on their very own while saving thousands of dollars compared to hiring a professional. And today, we're going to review some of the most popular layouts that you can do when installing your underground dog fence. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go to outdoorpetsolutions.com, and this will pull up my website, and across the top here is the menu, and if you hover over how it works and drop down to fence layout options, let's click that. This will take you to a page that will give you several of the most popular options to choose from when laying out your dog fence. This first option here is the entire yard layout. It consists of a very simple layout that's easy for your dog to learn their new boundaries and simpler on you to install. One thing about dog fencing is that it needs to make a complete loop to operate. So what that means is when you bring the wire, one end of the wire comes out from the base station, goes around the perimeter that you want to keep the dog in. That end of the wire has to make it back to the starting point of the base station. So that to achieve this in this layout, it would consist of the twisted pair coming out, which are the two ends of the wire, and then one end would loop around the front, continuing around to the back, and then tie back together to the other end of the twisted pair, making its way back to the transmitter. The reason we have this twisted pair is so that it creates a dead area for your dog to be able to cross over. So their containment area would only be the outer perimeter in this layout here. And so this layout is perfect for simplicity because it covers all the openings of your home. If you were to only isolate the dog in the backyard or the front yard, you're going to leave other openings of your home vulnerable to allowing your dog to escape. So if someone comes to visit and they knock on the front door and you open it, the dog could bolt out the front, take off down the street because you only have them contained to the backyard. In this layout, they will have access to the whole yard all the way around, so if they happen to run out the front door, you don't have to worry about it. They're contained and trained to stay. That is the most popular layout that we install most of the time. The next option would be the backyard only layout. So if you have some landscaping and things out front and you simply just don't want your dog to have access in those areas, you can achieve it by doing the backyard only layout. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this. This first example is the single wire. This is where we start at the same spot with the transmitter. You come out with the single wire, no twisted pair needed in this situation. Come out around the backyard, and when you get to the other side of the home, to continue the continuous necessary loop so the system operates, you're going to come in close to the side of the house and then just take the wire around the front of your home the shortest distance that you can and tie it back into the starting point of the transmitter. One thing to note, anytime you come in close to the sides of the home like this, you're going to want to keep the wire off by a couple of feet of the side of the house to help prevent the signal from leaching in through the wall. These radio frequencies will breach the walls, come inside if the wire is right up against the side of your house, and it will activate your dog's collar inside your home. So to prevent that, you want to be 2 to 3 feet off the sides as you make your way around the sides and front of your home. And so this is a way to contain the dog just to the backyard. Now, the other note you need to know about is that the line will be active in the front yard. So if they do run out the front door, if there's not enough room to train them out there and to get them to understand that they're not allowed to go beyond a certain point out front, you're going to want to take the collar off your dog when they're inside so that when someone comes to visit, they don't run out the front door and activate the collar just outside the door. And the other advantage to this layout is if you don't train the dog out front at all, you now have an opportunity to take your dog for walks or take him to the car, to go for a vet visit, or what have you. And they will always understand that going out the front is their safe way in and out, and that they will only be contained in the backyard. So it's very easy on the dog and for you to go for walks in this situation. But just always remember, take the receiver collar off before you go out the front door, because it is active out front. Our next option to doing a backyard only layout prevents the activation from occurring out front. And that's using what's called the double wire or double loop. This is where you start again at the base station here, continue around the outer perimeter closest to your property lines around the backyard. And when you come up next to the house, you're going to cut in close, but at the same time keeping a few feet off the house so the signal doesn't leach into the interior of your home. And then you're going to keep the line separated by about 4 to 5 feet. And then you'll continue with the second line, innermost line, around the backyard, and then you'll tie it back at the starting point. This completes the necessary loop that you'll need for the system to operate. But notice that the lines are separated, as I mentioned, by about 4 to 5 feet. The reason is so that the lines don't interfere with each other and create dead spots, just like it does with the twisted pair coming out from the transmitter. Like here with the entire yard layout, this creates a dead area so that your dog can safely pass over. But if you do the double loop and these lines are too close together, you're going to create a dead area all the way around. So to prevent that, you're going to want at least 4 feet in between those wires. And the reason I say at least, if you need a bigger field, you're going to want to separate the wires even more. The downfall to this, other than this, having to put in 2 lines in the backyard, is that it eats up a lot of playroom for your dog. So this innermost line is the activation line that's going to keep your dog inside. Well, there's a field that projects off that wire about another 4 or 5 feet. And by keeping these lines, having to keep those separated, you're going to have about 10 feet of playroom that's consumed by the fence system all the way around the edge of your yard. So if you have a very small yard, I suggest you install it, the backyard only layout with a single wire, or do an entire yard layout. The double line just takes up a lot of playroom. But if you have a really large yard, then this may not be an issue for you. The advantage again to this layout is that it keeps the front totally clear, so that if your dog has the fence collar on, it doesn't matter if they go out the front door, you can go for a walk. And but again, if you don't want them to leave the yard out front, then there's no protection out front. So just consider that with that layout there with the backyard only double wire layout. The next option is the hourglass layout. So the hourglass is kind of the best of both worlds between the entire yard layout and the backyard only. This creates 2 zones, one for the front and one for the back. And as you see here, we're starting at the base station again, and you're going to bring out the line and continue around the front yard. And then when you get to the other side of your home, you're going to come in close to the side, preventing your dog access from the front and back. And then you'll continue around the backyard and tie it back into the base station. This is a great way to have protection out front and in the back, but you have total control of when your dog is allowed to be out front and when they're allowed to be out back. So this is a very popular layout as well. And then the last option here is adding exclusion zones. So this is where you can take any of the previous layouts we just covered and include areas within the boundary that you want to isolate and keep your dog out of. So this could be a garden, a pool, a pond. It kind of looks like it might be a pond in this image here. And it's very simple. When you run the boundary wire around your backyard, you can actually add a twisted pair. Tap into the boundary wire, run the twisted pair over to the area you want to isolate, and then loop around that area, tying it back to that twisted pair so it continues around to the transmitter where you started in the first place. This will maintain that consistent loop connection all the way around, but isolate that area, and your dog will have free rein all the way around it because of the twisted pair that's coming off that side there. So this is a nice way to keep dogs out of areas, landscaping, what have you, that you might want to protect and keep the dog from digging in and things of that nature. So I hope these layouts make sense to you, and help you to better understand how the system works and to make the decision that's best for you and your dog as far as how you want to lay this fence out. Underground fencing is very universal, very customizable. You can do just about anything you want with it, but just remember to maintain that consistent loop, and also when you're coming in close to the sides of the home, to make sure that the wire is off the home by 2 to 3 feet so that that signal doesn't overlap into the home. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful to you in understanding the different layouts that you can achieve when installing your underground dog fence. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe if you'd like, and we'll catch you next time.